This is The Scoop for Friday.
I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines. Ahead of nationwide protests tomorrow against Trump's policies, civil rights advocates are assuring protesters that they have a right to safety. This comes in response to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who recently suggested violence against protesters on the conservative interview show The Rubin Report.
We also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you.
But here's a response from Alana Greer, director of the Community Justice Project in Miami.
It is not legal in the state of Florida by any stretch of the imagination to harm people with their cars during a lawful protest. And I think to stoke that sentiment is really an effort to chill people from going out and exercising their right.
Greer says protesters are protected under the law and should be aware of their rights. Trump administration cuts have caused almost 600 jobs to be lost from NOAA's National Weather Service this year. That's according to NPR. Now, WMNF's Chris Young reports ex-NOAA scientists are sounding the alarm on what these and other proposed cuts mean as Florida kicks off a predicted busy hurricane season.
John Cortines is the former Deputy Assistant Administrator for Science at NOAA's Office of Oceanic and Atmospheric Research. Cortines, along with Miami Indivisible, held a protest recently against Trump's proposed cuts to the organization. Cortines fears that with fewer employees doing research at NOAA, it'll be harder to maintain the quality forecasting the public is used to.
Does that mean that we might not be able to communicate to the public as effectively as we have in the past about, when storms are coming? Does that mean that because we're missing observations that a forecast may not be as accurate as it was before all these cuts? It's hard to say.
He's not the only one. Miami meteorologist John Morales gained national attention after saying during a weather report the cuts would leave Floridians, quote, flying blind into hurricane season. Cortines encouraged people to reach out to their representatives to voice their support for NOAA's research. Chris Young, WMNF News.
Hillsborough County has been awarded a $709 million federal grant for disaster recovery after recent hurricanes. WMNF Sarah Goebel tells us that the Hillsborough Affordable Energy Coalition is hosting a town hall tomorrow to get feedback on how to spend the money.
The Disaster Recovery Program grant will be used for climate resilience measures and disaster resilience. Brooke Ward, the senior Florida organizer with Food and Water Watch, says that this is a preventative measure.
But we don't want this to happen again. We don't want to see the type of flooding that we saw and the massive disaster that we saw countywide. And that's why we've been advocating to the Hillsborough County Commission to include some really important aspects into their action plan.
70% of this grant money will be directed to low or middle income neighborhoods or communities. The Hillsborough Affordable Energy Coalition could focus on energy efficiency in homes and prioritizing green spaces and solar. Ashton Maddox is the campus organizer with the Clio Institute and also a part of the Affordable Energy Coalition. He says the state's rapid construction requires a more controlled approach.
That natural flooding mitigation, we just want that to be prioritized and kept because Florida's getting just urban sprawl and it's being developed so fast.
The Hillsborough Affordable Energy Coalition's town hall is this Saturday at 3:30 in the afternoon at the Seminole Heights Public Library. The county is collecting public feedback through July 4th. For WMNF News, I'm Sarah Goebel.
Florida legislative leaders said last night they hope to finish a budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year today so that it can go before the House and Senate early next week. Senate Appropriations Chair Ed Hooper said he and House Budget Chair Lawrence McClure have committed to having a budget finalized for votes on Monday. The budget, related bills, and a tax package were expected to be completed a month ago at the scheduled end of the annual legislative session. But the House and Senate could not reach agreement, leading to an extension of the session. The new fiscal year will start July 1st. If the budget is finished today, the earliest lawmakers could vote would be Monday because of a required 72-hour cooling off period. It'll be partly cloudy and hot today with highs in the low 90s. Thunderstorms early tonight with overnight lows in the mid 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with afternoon showers or thunderstorms and highs in the low 90s. I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.